Smokepit Fairytales by Trip Ainsworth. Chapter 13. Purple Churches and Green Women. Monday morning rolled around. I put on my alphas and drove to base combat camera with my orders. There was a civilian working the front desk, Mrs. Herkland. She directed me to the photo section. As I was walking through the hall, a voice stopped me.
Sergeant?
I turned to see a haggard gunnery sergeant. Her hair was the color of a moldy peach and her teeth were crooked. Her name tapes read Chanceworth. Hey, good morning, gunnery sergeant. I thumbed my orders.
You checking in, Sergeant?
Yes, gunnery sergeant. I extended my hand to shake. I'm Sergeant Azalandra. I'm coming over from division.
Yeah, I know.
She didn't shake my hand. I brought my arm back down, thinking, Bitch. Are you the ops chief? Chanceworth eyeballed my face.
Yeah. Are you video?
No, I'm photo.
All right. Staff Sergeant Bistro's your staff NCOIC?
Awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Allensworth, is that right?
Yes, gunnery sergeant.
I'm going to need you to shave that mustache.
God damn it, not another one of these shitheads. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, gunnery sergeant.
What?
That's an unlawful order. MCO Papa 1020 Tech 34 India says...
I know what the order says, Sergeant. And I'm telling you to chop it off.
If that's the way it's going to be, gunnery sergeant, then I'm going to need you to help me to request mass so I can sort this out with the battalion commander. Chanceworth glared at me.
Go fucking check in, Marine.
She disappeared back into her office. Great first impression, bitch. I introduced myself to Staff Sergeant Bistro. He was chill enough, but I didn't like his vibe. I was made the NCO in charge of the photo section and introduced to my new Marines. I had 2 corporals, 4 lance corporals, all female, and 1 PFC who was currently at that rank for the 3rd time. None of them had so much as been on a serious training exercise, much less a deployment. A whole section of fucking hardcore pogues. I asked my new staff sergeant what I was supposed to do with them and what kind of things we covered. Apparently that unit existed for the sole purpose of promotion photos and covering chain of command and retirement ceremonies. I didn't know if I was in luck or if I'd been cursed. I tried to spend time corralling the Marines, but they were tame. They were a strange kind of disgruntled. They were unsatisfied with their base unit careers, and since they hadn't been anywhere or done anything, they didn't really get unruly. Because of the political nature of my new environment, I couldn't beat the Marines when they did something stupid. Then again, they never did anything stupid enough that I think would warrant corporal punishment. I spent most of my time smoking or complaining about the boredom to my staff sergeant. The day-to-day at a base unit is hell for a Marine who's ever done anything. I was lounging around my barracks room after my first week at the base unit drinking rum. I had to keep it hidden when I wasn't drinking it. Although hard liquor was forbidden in barracks Marine Corps wide, it was usually overlooked at fleet units. I heard from the Marines around there that their commander would crucify people he caught with booze. I kept my rum in a 2-quart canteen. I was going to link up with Doc later that night and hit the Purple Church. In the meantime, I was still going through some things I hadn't unpacked yet. I had a box that I was half afraid to open. My personal gear recovered from Iran. I held it for a minute and decided against opening it. I had no idea what was in the box. It had a heavy weight, but I didn't want to open any doors that would take me somewhere dark at the beginning of the night. I went down to the smoke deck and waited for Doc. And that barracks was bullshit. Nobody could get away with anything. The old barracks, I could smoke on the catwalks. This one, I had to walk all the fucking way downstairs, then about 100 more meters to an authorized smoking area before I could light up. I was burning the 4th cigarette when Doc's Mustang screamed into the parking lot. I opened the door and fell in. Hola! Doc punched the gas, and we roared down the street.
How's that base life treating you, bro?
It's fucking stupid.
Already? You've only been there a week.
Man, everyone there's a fucking boot, and they all have this pogue-ass mentality towards everything. Like, the goddamn platoon sergeant is this fucking idiot that's never been anywhere or done anything. Seriously, fucker has 5 ribbons, no deployments, no personal awards. The only reason they put him in charge is because he picked up sergeant real fast, and he's just been sitting there. Like, I told the staff that I should be the platoon sergeant, but this Kellington fuck has more time and rank than I do. So, even though he has no experience, they're still making him in charge of all the goddamn Marines.
That bad, huh?
Dude, this fuck walks around pretending to be a drill instructor all day, imitating the voice and marching cadence to himself and fucking everything. And he's never been to the drill field. He just never got out of that boot fucking mentality because he's never fucking done anything with his life.
You'd think the staff would know better than that.
Dude, it's the garrison side of the Marine Corps. They don't know dick. There are 3 staff sergeants and a gunnery sergeant, and civilians fucking run the place. And 2 of the staff sergeants think they're hot shit because, they were in Okinawa.
But no Iraq or Afghan.
Nope.
Those dudes are fucking fags.
Yeah, and the other staff sergeant went to Iraq like one time in 2008, so like the war was already over. He's just chilling out, and he thinks that he's hot shit. Then the fucking place is run by civilians. I have a fucking civilian writing my fitness reports.
Ha! You're officially a fucking pogue.
I pressed my hands to my forehead and screamed. Then I got my ass handed to me this morning.
For what?
Well, we were going on a cadence run for PT, right?
Oh, God. What did you say?
I stole a Clear song.
Which one?
Well, keep in mind that this platoon is 75% female. We were running down Vandergrift, and I get out and say, I can get pregnant like this, all the way to pregnant with just one kiss. And when I get pregnant, Gunny's gonna say, how'd you get so pregnant in just one day? And I reply with a lot of motivation, blood and guts and anal penetration.
All that in front of females?
Yeah, and then one of those fucking bitches ratted me out to the gunnery sergeant. She threatened to fucking NJP me if I didn't clean up my act. She only let me go because we were in Charlie's today and I got 3 stars in my fucking Purple Heart.
Your gunny is a chick?
Yeah, 6-ribbon, heinous excuse for a Marine. It pisses me off because it's like, hey, I know you're a female and they won't let you go out with the grunts, but fuck you! I have! You don't right to tell me shit, cunt.
Why don't you tell me how you really feel?
No, this bitch was chewing my ass about professionalism and shit, and I wanted to go off on her. I mean, you can't tell me dick about professionalism when A, I am a professional, and I've been doing this shit since I got off the fucking yellow footprints, and she hasn't done dick, and B, her name is fucking Condom Chanceworth.
You're shitting me.
Nope. Her name is fucking Condom.
Well, man, if there's going to be a place where the Marine Corps is all fucked up, at least it's not a fleet unit, so they can't actually ruin anything important.
Doc, I agree with you. And they said they were sending me to base to give me a break from the constant rotations, but fuck. This isn't a break. I'd rather be in combat than dealing with these fucking idiots. Life was so much simpler when all I had to do was stay alive.
I hear you, bro. You'll be alright.
Yeah. I just need some tits shoved in my face.
Hell yeah, man.
We finished our cigarettes and walked into the strip club. We ordered stouts and sat at the bar. First row by the stage.
Shit.
Doc said as the first girl walked out on the stage. What, dude? She ain't that bad, I said, sipping my beer.
Nah, man, I forgot to wear sweatpants.
Ah. A woman in a corset paraded around the stage. She whipped her dirty blonde hair in circles as she grinded on the pole. She thumbed her panties and released them with a snap. She touched her fingers to the hands of her reflection on the stage's back mirror. I nodded in approval and put $1 down on the bar. The woman dropped her corset, leaving her wearing nothing but a G-string, tattoos, and stretch marks. I took my $1 back. Doc gave me a look.
Seriously?
There's nothing quite like stretch marks on a stripper, dude.
Okay, man.
I patted Doc on the shoulder. Another woman wearing fishnets and leather manifested behind us.
Either of you gentlemen want a lap dance?
I'm game. See ya, Doc. The fishnet woman led me to the chairs in the back. Hey, so what's your name? The stripper smiled at me and said,
Molasses.
That's an interesting name. Isn't Molasses supposed to be brown?
Well, I'm half.
You don't look it.
You haven't seen my ass yet.
Molasses pushed me into the chair and waved her ass in my face. She did her best to entertain me. She wasn't doing a bad job. She had a beautiful body, but, the rules in California were stupid. We weren't allowed to touch the girls and, forget a tug job. But hell, what the fuck else is there to do on Friday night in Oceanside? When the dance was done, I slipped her a 20 and told her, thanks, I'm gonna go smoke.
That good, huh?
No, I'm just a nicotine addict.
Maybe I'll see you out there, smartass.
I sat down on the front door and lit up a Lucky. A few minutes passed, and Molasses appeared in a robe and sat down beside me.
It's a nice night out.
That it is.
So, no big plans for the weekend?
Well, I got a date tomorrow, but nothing really besides that.
And you're at a strip club the night before? Shame.
I just wanted to look at some tits.
That works. Who's your date?
This chick I met down in San Diego a week or two ago.
Is she pretty?
I don't know. I've only seen her once, and I was pretty hammered. I've just been texting her all week. What's your story, Sugarcane? She flicked the ash from her cigarette.
Nothing special. My husband's a motor T guy. I met him in Jacksonville a while back, and we got here from Lejeune about a year ago.
And he's okay with you giving lap dances to strangers for cash?
They're not really lap dances.
No, they're not.
It's no worse than a nude beach.
At least here anyway. God knows what you have to put up in another state. These clubs are bullshit here.
Pays the bills, though. And if they're bullshit, why are you spending money on it?
I looked Molasses dead in the eye and smirked. Because I wanted to see some boobs. What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all.
She smiled and put out her cigarette.
Back to the grind. Have a good one if I don't see you.
You too. No one at the Purple Church that worked there a few years ago was still around. None of the girls or staff were familiar. I guess that makes sense, though, in a place with so many people moving through. I found Doc and proceeded to get obliterated. When the night was over, I stumbled back into my barracks room, turned on the desk light, and pulled out my canteen of rum. I got a glass of ice and sat down with my box of things from Iran. I cut the brown packing tape away from the cardboard with my pocket knife. I pulled out the contents and piled them on my desk. My old computer was in there. I'd want to take the pictures and my music off of that later. There was a crushed pack of Luckies. These are probably stale as shit. The copy of 50 Shades of Dave that was floating around made its way into my box. At the bottom of the box was the Iranian dagger and scarf. I guess whoever packed my stuff convinced the customs guys that these weren't war trophies. I rubbed the part of my leg that the knife was once in. It didn't hurt at all. The wound healed without a scar. Hell, I didn't even have scars from the bullets or the fire and the steel rain. What the fuck is going on with this? I felt like shit. The bottom of my eyes got heavy and my breaths short and choppy. I tightly rubbed my hands together in an effort to comfort myself. I took a big gulp of the rum and a deep breath. I got up and went out to smoke. I didn't bother walking down to the smoke deck. I lit up on the catwalk. If the dude had something to say to me, then he could kiss my fucking ass. I chain smoked 5 or 6 cigarettes and didn't move an inch more than I had to. When I had had enough, I went back into my room and grabbed the Iranian scarf and my sewing kit. In one of the corners, I marked a rough circle about the size of my fist. Over the next hour, I sewed an eagle globe and anchor over the circle, then diagonally under it, Allensworth and USMC. Late the next morning, I parked my Jeep in front of an apartment building in downtown San Diego. I unplugged my phone from the radio to stop the music and dialed Penelope.
Hey, are you here?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, I'll be right down.
Penelope agreed to give me the whole day as a date window. I told her to bring a pair of hiking boots and a swimsuit. The Jeep didn't have doors or a back, just the bikini top. I perched myself up on the roll bar and kept an eye out for her. I was drunk when we met and only had that one picture on my phone of her face. I didn't know what she'd be wearing and, only had an idea of what her face looked like. I kept an eye out for green people, but there was a decent amount of them walking the streets.
Hank?
Her voice came up from behind. I turned to look. Penelope was wearing a khaki button-down shirt, sleeves haphazardly rolled. There was a rose garden tattooed over her left arm, all the way down to her hand. She had tricolor camouflage short shorts and tan boots. She had the same style tattoos covering her left leg as she did on her arm. Her bright orange hair was split in the middle and weaved into a braid that ended by her belt. Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad.
Penelope patted the Jeep.
This your animal?
I wasn't 100% sure if she didn't know the words for automobile or if she was just joking. That it is. I hopped to the ground. Ready to rock?
I am.
Well then, let me get the door for you. Penelope smiled and climbed into the passenger seat. The Jeep had a 6-inch lift, so I got a good view of Penelope's trunk. I nodded in approval and jumped into the driver's seat. Any preferences on music?
I'm partial to jazz, but I'm still learning your music. Mine's open.
Well, all the jazz I have is on a soundtrack for a TV show about cowboys in space.
Clint Eastwood shot a movie in space.
No, the show is a cartoon, and we don't go to space to shoot movies.
Why not?
Our technology's not that good yet. We can't just go to space for whatever reason. We went to the moon a few times, but that was about it. She looked almost embarrassed.
Oh, I'm still learning.
That's cool. And Clint Eastwood doesn't play all the cowboys.
Well, they fooled me.
Well, so what kind of movies do you have?
Mostly the same things, comedy, drama, and action. We just don't have cowboys, samurai, or the same holidays.
What about dragon slayers and Vikings?
We have the same concepts, but our ancient warriors and beasts are different.
That makes sense. So cartoon jazz or... I looked into the eyes of my reflection in her aviators for the answer.
Put it on random and we'll see where it takes us.
I like that idea. I started the engine and backed out of the parking lot.
So where are we off to today?
This place called Cedar Creek Falls. It's a bit of a drive, then it's a bit of a walk.
Is that why I brought the boots?
Yeah.
Okay.
Penelope looked around the Jeep. The wind flung her braid. She tucked it into the seatbelt.
What are the horns for on your grill?
Those? A few years ago, me and my buddy Doc were off-roading and we found this buffalo that had been eaten by coyotes. I buried the skull and kept the horns on my Jeep.
Why's that?
I don't know. Thought it'd be fun.
Huh.
Yep. So, you said your name was a long story. What's that about?
Well, legally my name is Penelope Gina Vianthaka. There's no direct translation between the names in our language and yours. We found spellings that we thought were as close as we could get our names to your language and used that. My name's spelled Penelope, but it's pronounced a little different. But I don't mind being called Penelope. A name's a name.
Well, a rose by any other name smells so sweet.
Did you come up with that yourself?
Sure, I lied.
So what's your full name?
Hank Thomas Allensworth.
Isn't Hank supposed to be short for something?
Maybe, but, not me. The Jeep rumbled and shook its way west to Ramona. Penelope held on to the backpack on her lap. I tried to sneak a few peeks of her breasts, but her shirt was buttoned just one button too high to get a good look without making it obvious. I drove the Jeep up a dusty dirt road on the side of a mountain and put it in park. We gotta walk from here. I unlatched my Alice pack from the back of my Jeep and threw it on my back. Penelope slid out of the Jeep. The sun brought out her freckles.
Oh, it is beautiful out here. How far is where we're going?
A couple miles into the valley on the other side of the mountain.
On the other side?
It's too steep for a vehicle, and the trail's a narrow dirt path. Penelope pulled a water bottle out of her pack for a sip.
Well then, we better get to it.
The downward trail was steep. There was an occasional tree, but most of the vegetation was knee-high grass, brown as it is in the California summer. Boulders stood from the sides of the mountain like monuments to old pagan gods. Penelope swung her arms as she went.
I like how many yellow and purple flowers there are here. And the amount of sun you can get here is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing. It's good for the skin. I looked down at my arms. They weren't as brown as they used to be. I guess I'd been spending too much time inside. I compared my skin to Penelope's. Hers was a bold emerald with little olive freckles. On her right, anyway. Her left was all rose tattoos. She looked up to the sun.
But not like me.
How so? Penelope kicked a rock down the trail and continued.
Well, I have to eat real food, but I also need sunlight. It helps my body generate energy.
She raised her forearm to my face.
These little spots.
Your freckles?
Yeah, they're not just little bots of pigment. They capture the sun for me.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
The sun feels so good. It's the main reason I left the ship.
What ship?
The ship we came here on. There was no real light on it, just imitation, so it doesn't do anything for my body. That's why I'm so short.
Short? You're as tall as I am.
If I got enough light when I was younger, I'd be at least 6 inches taller.
Oh, okay. Did some people stay on the ship?
Yep. They're up there floating around right now. The ship was a home to me. I spent 60 years on it. Well, 60 of your years, but being on it made me weak from lack of sunlight.
Hold on, 60 years? How old are you?
87-ish? In your time?
Holy crap. I looked her over, toe to tip. You could probably pass for 18 here.
Ah, longer lifespan, I guess.
She shrugged it off as if it meant nothing to her. Yeah, I guess. Wait, so you guys were traveling for 60 years through space? Didn't you all find a way to, break the speed of light?
No.
Penelope had an expression on her face that told me the gears were turning in her head.
I don't know exactly how it works. But because of how fast we were going, our time slowed down and we were really travelling for however many thousands of years. But to us, it felt like it was only 60-ish years.
I think I know what you're talking about. So why'd you guys leave?
I don't really want to talk about that right now.
All right. I snatched a stem of purple flowers and handed them to Penelope.
Aw, for me? Thank you, kind sir.
We reached the bottom of the mountain. The trail snaked deeper into the valley under a row of trees about 100 yards thick along the stream. So do you watch a lot of cowboy movies then?
I watch all sorts of films. But yes, I have been viewing a lot of westerns recently.
Anything specific?
Not terribly. I watched one called Tombstone the other night.
That's an awesome movie.
It was.
How about Two Mules for Sister Sarah?
I don't think so. What was that about?
Clint Eastwood's helping a nun get across Mexico during the War with the French. It had a pretty interesting plot twist.
I haven't seen a great deal of different movies until somewhat recently. On the ship, we only could really watch TV as it came from the radio waves out in space. Even then, people only started really watching it after we figured out how to translate English.
So you've seen a lot of TV movies then?
Yes.
Penelope looked up to the trees we were walking under. A thin layer of sweat shined off her skin.
Oh, shade feels nice.
What happened to needing sunlight?
Just because I need the sunlight doesn't mean I don't get hot.
Oh, you're hot all right. Good to know.
About me getting hot?
Yeah, but don't worry, there's a pool ahead. The trees spread out as we reached the beginning of the stream we'd been following. There was a massive rock formation around a lake that was about 200 feet across. Up the face of a cliff that led straight up the mountain from the valley was a waterfall.
Hank, oh my god, this is wonderful.
Penelope gazed at the awe-inspiring product of nature.
How deep's the water here?
It should be at least a few feet. Without a word, Penelope stripped down to a red bikini and left her clothes laying on top of her backpack. She didn't bother folding them. She had the same tattoos on her side as she did her arm and her leg. She took off in a sprint towards the water and jumped in feet first. When she emerged, she rubbed the water out of her face and waved.
Are you coming?
Yeah, sorry, it takes me a minute longer to take off my clothes than that. I left my things near hers and dove into the pool. The water was cool. It felt good on a hot day. We paddled in the neck-deep water. There's a rope on the tree over there to swing off of.
How do you mean?
Oh, come on, I'll show you. It's a little shallower over there than by the edges. I led her to the other side of the pond, near the base of the waterfall. I reached to the other side first. Penelope wasn't as strong a swimmer as I. Without waiting for her, I ran up the rocks, past the lonely tree under the waterfall, and quickly turned around as I grabbed the rope and swung over the water. I let go of the rope, yelling, "Cannonball!" I splashed about 2 feet away from Penelope. When I came back to the air, Penelope called me a jerk and splashed water in my face. Oh, come on, it's your turn, it's fun. We spent a few hours clowning around under the waterfall, careless of the time. When we had our fill, we grabbed our things and perched up on a boulder by the pond. There was a good view of the waterfall. It was narrow, but tall, and the rushing stream almost hid behind the rocks it had been cutting into over the millenniums. I rummaged through my pack. You like turkey? I offered her a sandwich.
I do.
When she reached for the sandwich, I finally got a good look at her breasts. They were substantial in size, but not so big to be grotesque. Perky.
I think this is a good idea. We didn't have this.
No?
Well, we had bread and meat and the like, but we didn't assemble them like such.
What kind of food did you have?
On the ship it was mostly vegetables and bread, but back home we had animals and wine too.
Wine, huh?
Oh yes, you'll have to try it sometime.
Made from grapes?
The plants are close enough.
Like your roses?
Yes, actually. They're almost the same plant. And what about the tattoo on your chest?
On the left of my chest, over my heart, I had the 1st Marine Division's emblem. A blue diamond with a big red one in the center surrounded by stars of the Southern Cross. Inside of the one, instead of reading Guadalcanal, like it should had, mine read Afghanistan. It's my division's logo. I just put Afghan in there instead of what it's supposed to say.
You're a soldier?
No, I'm a Marine. She gave me a confused look.
So you're a sailor?
No, it's like in the middle. Like we get on ships and float around at sea and then get off and fight the enemy on the beach.
Okay, so you are a soldier?
No. Bitch, quit calling me that. I'm not a soldier. I'm a fucking Marine.
I don't see the difference. How aren't you a soldier?
Because soldiers are in the Army. Marines are supposed to be more like the Navy's ground forces, or like guys that would capture a ship from another ship.
Okay.
Penelope rolled her eyes.
Well, anyway, your tattoo, why do you have those stars on it?
Because during a war a long time ago, the division was fighting on a little island in the Pacific Ocean, and this constellation was the most prominent one in the sky.
I haven't seen that constellation yet from here.
You can only see it from the southern hemisphere. Penelope put a finger on one of my stars.
I'm from that star. That's one of the reasons a lot of us went to Australia.
Well, why didn't you go?
I knew more about American culture and it seemed like I'd have an easier time assimilating.
You didn't see, like, anything about our history, did you?
Not too much. Why?
Don't worry about it. Coming to America with dark skin because you thought it'd be easy to assimilate. Good luck. You like pie?
I haven't had it yet.
Oh, well, there's an awesome pie company up in Julian if you'd like to go.
I'd love to.
Good. Well, all we gotta do is get back to the Jeep first.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to Smokepit Fairytales Chapter 13! I would like to thank my voice actors Hollis, Joe McCollum, Chuck LaVoki, Azalandra Danstar, and Diane Spencer. I'd also like to thank all my Patreon people and everyone that's got an award chest. That really helps out the channel, both of those things. So thank you very much for that. Alright, I'll see you on the next one.